It's time. SCW Live here once again on YouTube.com. It's the most unpredictable hour or so in YouTube history because you take control. It's your questions, and myself and my guests will be answering them here on SCW. We're going to start straight after this. So welcome back then to SCW Live. Going to be going straight into your questions. But first off, let's get our guest on this week. And none other from Wrestling by Wooldridge. It's the one and only Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing, my good friend?
Yeah, all good. Cheers, mate. Glad to be back on the show, as always. Yeah, love watching these and being a part of them. So, yeah, all good, mate.
It's always great fun. It's always great to have you a part of them as well. For people, if they've not by now known about your channel, can you just do me a favor quickly, just tell everybody, just maybe put them under analysis, maybe?
Yeah, I like what you did there. Yeah, so my channel is mainly just I do analysis videos at the moment. Like Steve said, I'm doing a show called Under Analysis where I pick out a match. It can be from any promotion or from any era. And I just sort of take a deep dive and break the match down and give it some build as well. Yeah, and I also just make sort of topical videos here and there when I can. So, yeah, give us a subscribe if you can.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it. It's always fantastic content. And yeah, you certainly, if you're not subscribed by now, you are seriously missing out. I have to say that. But we do have a lot of questions coming in. Nice to know. But just before we do, there are some breaking news that I think we should share with everybody. It's an actual official statement from WWE. We're going to read this off my phone now. Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, underwent successful procedure last week at Yale New Haven Hospital following a cardiac event. The episode was caused by a generic heart issue, and Paul is expected to make a full recovery. Now, of course, that's really, it's very sad news, but it's really good to hear that it was successful and that he's expected to make a full recovery. Obviously, it's shocking, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, it really is. Just sort of came out of left field, to be honest. Like, I've only just seen it. Yeah, but thank God he's doing okay. So hopefully he comes through all well. But scary stuff for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, like we say, we wish him a very speedy recovery. And of course, obviously, both very big fans of Triple H. He's done a lot for the industry. And, it's just something that, like you say, it takes us completely by surprise. Literally, this news is broken for anyone that watches this on delay. This has literally been released a couple of minutes before we've come on air. So we've not even really had time to digest this information. So, yeah, it's just good to know that it's gone successful. And like we say, we do wish him a speedy recovery and thoughts with him and the family at this particular time. But there's lots to dive into in the wrestling world. And I mean, obviously, we've come off of AEW All Out. That was a very big pay-per-view this past Sunday. Obviously, we mentioned Triple H there and NXT. NXT is going its full makeover. We're going to get to see the new NXT next week. Raw and SmackDown is still there, but I mean, obviously, SmackDown this week will be going for Madison Square Garden. A lot has been advertised for that show, so there's a lot to be excited about in wrestling right now.
Yeah, there really is, isn't there? As you say, AEW is absolutely killing it at the moment. SmackDown have got a big show this Friday, which I'm sure is definitely going to deliver. And yeah, I think NXT, with all the changes, has felt a little bit lost for the past few weeks. So it will be good to see it finally getting that redo and just seeing where it goes from there.
Absolutely, no, I 100% agree. And yeah, with the looks of the things we've obviously got the logo. We've got a tease of the arena this past week on Raw and on NXT this week. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table. They've actually put quite a stacked card for next week on NXT. So as well with the wedding of Index also. So it's interesting to see where that's going to go. But what I should say, shall we go into the questions? Because we do have quite a few of them that have come flooding in already. So well, we'll start off here with this one from Jones that's coming with the relaunching of NXT next week. Fun enough. How would you make the show different and to regain a sense of importance following it being tarnished by Karrion Kross booking and Adam Cole's departure? A very good question indeed there to kick things off, obviously, there with the changes to NXT coming. What changes do you want to see implemented for next Tuesday?
That is quite a tough one, to be honest. I think they've sort of have given the promise of trying to, push new stars. So I think that's just what it just needs, a new, fresh feeling. And I'm not saying get rid of guys like Johnny Gargano and Ciampa and stuff like that, but I am liking the introduction of, or the push of, like Ridge Holland, guys like that, the guys that were in the breakout tournament as well. So I think if you give these guys a platform, yeah, I can't really say too much more than that, to be honest. It's one of those things. It's so hard to predict, to be honest, because it's one of those things with NXT. It's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But obviously, ever since the Wednesday Night War, it's just it's gone a bit downhill. So
it has. It's had a major change and shift of the guard over the last sort of 18 months to 2 years or so, like you say there, since it's gone to USA. For me, really, I mean, I would turn around and say that obviously Vince McMahon is expected to be more hands-on in some format with this NXT. I want to see that purely because of the fact that I want a connection with superstars when they go to Raw and SmackDown. Because when they go to Raw and SmackDown, I don't want them to be like a Karrion Kross. I don't want to feel like we've got an Adam Cole that feels like he can't go to Raw. I mean, the rumors were in the rumor this week. I don't know if you've seen this one. It's from Ringside News was the source, that the role for Adam Cole he was going to have was to be a manager on SmackDown. He wasn't even going to be a wrestler.
That is ridiculous, isn't it? The man is probably one of the best promos. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, arguably. And you want to have him as a manager. Like, I get it. He's a good talker, but no. I definitely don't think that would have. So, it's not a surprise he did go to AEW if that's the offer that they put on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, if that's what you're offered and you want to do pro wrestling, I mean, you've got all your friends down the road, your missus down the road as well. Exactly. That's where you're going to go, isn't it? So, I mean, that's the thing. You need to. I think this is Mick Foley said. WWE has a problem right now. It's a big problem. They need to make the talent feel like this is the place to be. They need to, even from that early stage of NXT, build them, book them well, give a structure, give some strength. I like in a way as well that, I mean, although I'm a creature of habit, they're going to come away from this black and gold brand as well, aren't they? And the thing is, from here, you look and say, right, they're going to go with this multicolored logo, but the looking of the set, it looks like it's going to be a lot more open. They're not going to be that CWC cage vibe. It's going to be almost a mix between what we've seen with like the Thunderdome, but with actual fans, and also kind of a cross between WCW Saturday Night back in the day. So I'm kind of invested and looking forward to seeing what it's going to have, really. I think that it certainly could be exciting. Do you actually... just at this stage now, before seeing it, do you have high hopes for NXT next week, or do you feel like still like, oh, I'm not sure at the moment? It's going to take a long time to really fix this problem.
I want it to do well, but I can't help feeling a little bit sort of paranoid about how it's going to go. But I do really hope it is going to go. I'm definitely going to watch it, so there's no problem there. But yeah, you definitely make a good point about needing a reason for people to want to come to the WWE. And I think, as you say, if Vince has that hands-on approach and he makes the characters from NXT, so when they move up to the main roster, there's not all this chopping and changing. I think that will appeal to people who do want to go there. And as well, the news that they are going to leave the CWC and change up the set so it's a bit more open is such good news, because they should have done this when NXT moved to the USA Network. Why didn't they go to the same places that Raw and SmackDown were at? And I think that did hurt them a lot. And I think they could have sold the tickets just fine. At least give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, you present yourself against a company that's trying to build themselves like a Raw and SmackDown in AEW Dynamite, and you had yourself that's like, well, this is an indie promotion. That's exactly the vibe.
Exactly.
People then know what they're going for. As a last sort of closing thing before we go to the next question, is we've got quite a lot of them in, and we're aiming to go to 11 p.m. UK time here, so that's just under an hour from now today. Literally, I would say that obviously with that as well, you have the wrestlers that are there also. It's going to take time to build this new influx of developmental talent that they want to build, like an Odyssey Jones, a Duke Hudson, a Ridge Holland, to get to those positions. So this isn't something that's going to be overnight fixed, but I think what they're going to try and do is they're going to gloss this with the new logo, the new arena, to kind of give you that overlooking feel where you're going to feel satisfied and not see the internal problems, what the real problems are. And I hope that with booking and stuff, they're going to really try to address that as weeks go forward and months go forward. And perhaps this time in 12 months, we might look back at it and go, wow, that change of NXT was really needed. Would you agree with that last point?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully that is the case, where in the future we will look back on it in a good light. But yeah, I suppose it's just a waiting game, isn't it? We'll just have to see what happens.
That's the thing. It is a waiting game indeed. Martin Carrillo as well. Now says, hey, SCW and Wrestling by Wooldridge. After WWE Backlash by fans hasn't done WWE good with guys like Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk, even over the fact of some poor booking at times. Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, superstars have obviously chosen to go to AEW over WWE. And I think CM Punk makes a really good point here when he was doing an interview the other day about the other guys coming in. He said with Bryan Danielson in particular, he loved where he worked. And Adam Cole said good things about WWE as well, but they still came here and I didn't. There must be something that AEW gives right now. Maybe it is the poor booking, but there's something that gives these guys confidence and the want to go to AEW rather than sticking around in WWE.
It's the freedom, isn't it? It's just the creativity. That's what AEW offers, what WWE doesn't. I think I listened to a podcast earlier. I'm pretty sure it was Mex actually, and he mentioned how when you perform in WWE, you're an actor because you're performing someone else's scripts, their ideas, you're doing their characters. Whereas when you're in AEW, you're a wrestler. It's an extension of yourself, and you're doing what you're creating essentially. All these guys like Punk, Sting, Danielson, and all the guys that are there already, like Omega, they all make their own stuff. So, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Cole, Danielson, and Punk have come to AEW.
Absolutely. And one thing Adam Cole said as well was the backstage, the feeling. He said, like, they represent what he wants. It's almost like he feels at home. And there's this, Ruby Soho as well saying this nice interaction. It was so welcoming. It must be feels like it's a very different atmosphere, not just in front of the camera, but behind it as well. And there has to be a lot of factors of why people were choosing it. The question is, will other people go to? And I did use the title of this video was to do with Kevin Owens. His contract is actually rumored to be expiring sooner than we thought. It was supposed to be 2023. He signed a 5-year deal in 2018. It's been restructured. It's January 2022. Now, I will take this now, as no questions are currently in on it, and it's obviously one of the main topics of this video. I'll quickly touch on it before we go on to the next question. Obviously, KO has put on the coordinates after All Out of Mount Rushmore, which was his stable with the Young Bucks and Adam Cole when they were together in PWG. And his location of where he is, where people might say, oh, we're from such and such, he's put almost there. If anything, it seems like a real tease. He took the tweet away of the Mount Rushmore coordinates, but he's kept the almost there thing there. With Kevin Owens, I genuinely believe he's going to go. Do you think that this is a sign of things to come?
Hands down. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think KO was clocked out of that company a long time ago. He's at there's been so many opportunities to push that guy, and I think he sees what's happening in AEW. And to be honest, once Cole, Danielson, and Punk went, and if someone asked me who will be the next person to go without knowing this, I would probably say Owens most of the time, to be honest. So it's not a big surprise, but I like those teasers.
The teasers are amazing, to be fair. I mean, Kevin Steen, if you want, we can use that name as well if you want his old name. I mean, he was absolutely relentless in other companies. He came to NXT, was the same sort of vibe, came as the prize fighter. Like you say, since 2017, that loss to Goldberg, there just hasn't been that same feeling. There's always been that stop, push. Never really just had that belief in pushing him to the top. Even though he's got a great relationship with Vince, like you say, I think he could be the next one. And to be honest, I know AEW has a lot of talent. I know that they probably don't need more talent at this point, but someone like Kevin Steen, you just don't pass that up when he becomes available, surely.
No, you really don't. I think Tony Khan has said lately, like, he's not going to sign everyone, but he's going to sign the guys that will move the needle. And I think Kevin Owens has all the potential in the world to be one of those. So, yeah.
Hey, if you're one of those indie darlings, you can talk, you can wrestle, and you can show the way that fans will really get behind your side and show that passion. I think he's got it there. So,
that's what it's all about.
It is what it's all about. Supersonic X in the house with us now. How are WWE going to get themselves out of this after a crazy all-out pay-per-view? This is probably a money question. What does WWE do to retaliate?
Just freshen things up a little bit. Just the shows are so repetitive. You got the same matches every week. Maybe even get rid of the brand split. I know everyone loves their drafts and everything, but in that case, you've got so many fresh matchups that you can have on each show, and you can have guys like Roman Reigns, who is arguably the best thing in that company at the moment, on both shows. I know people might think they'd get a little sick of him, but he's doing some really great work at the moment. So yeah, that'd be one of those things. Yeah, just get fresh faces. Just don't keep pushing the same guys over and over, and push guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who the fans clearly would want to see on that top spot.
Yeah, give the people what they want. I mean, sometimes we don't know what we want and they surprise us and they give us something, go, oh, wow, that's brilliant. But the thing is like, this is the thing. We go quickly back to SummerSlam for a second. CM Punk obviously debuted on the Rampage the night before. Then they sort of threw out to try and counter that with Becky Lynch, Brock Lesnar. And they definitely did do it because it's been said in the room mill afterwards that, well, Brock, that main event was supposed to be 2 years down the line with Roman. Becky Lynch was, supposed to be there, but not win that championship. But they had different ideas of things, how they changed. And there was rumors that Becky would have even been held off to the draft at one point. So clearly these things have come in place. AEW's raised the bar again. They can't turn around and say, right, we're bringing back Goldberg early. Do you know what I mean? It's like they have to find a way to try. And I think they're going to have to go back to like the new generation. They've got to play the long game here of building new stars. They're going to have to start doing it.
Yeah, definitely. The difference is between the WWE and AEW. When WWE want to respond to an AEW shock, they'll bring in guys like Lesnar and Goldberg, who are part-timers. It's a temporary fix. AEW, like Punk, Danielson, and Cole, are going to be there week in, week out for years to come. I think that's the difference. As you say, WWE need to build up fresh stars, and fast, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're completely right. They need some fresh talent. And the thing is, every time they want to bring back these part-timers, what does AEW do? They're going to bring in a name that's a full-timer that everyone's going to go crazy about. They'll do it for Crown Jewel. You get your Lesnar, you get your Goldberg. All right, fantastic. Halloween's going to rock around. Bray Wyatt's going to be in the house. You know it's coming. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen further down the line. I'm teasing everyone already in this one, aren't I?
It's exciting.
It is. It's an exciting time to be a fan. It really is. Whether you like the company or not, there is stuff going on. It's a lot to talk about, which is really good to see. But Jamie Holmes is in the house with us. Thank you, Jamie. Do you think WWE are gearing up for an Xavier Woods push? He had a decent mini feud with Bobby Lashley, who he pinned. Great point. Was the MVP of the tag team turmoil. Again, I agree with that. And got to the pin every time New Day advanced. Now, I didn't notice that last little detail. But I mean, Xavier Woods clearly, perhaps he's going to be on a push towards the King of the Ring tournament. What do you reckon?
I'd love to see a Xavier Woods push. He's been so underrated for so many years. I think they've always seen Kofi and Big E as the biggest stars, but Woods is so underrated. I mean, after the Kofi match with Bobby, I think he actually got a pinfall over Bobby. So I thought the natural progression from there was to have Woods then have a match with Bobby Lashley for the title, but they just brought Goldberg back, didn't they? But yeah, I'd love to see a Woods push, especially if they do King of the Ring. That'd be that's something new, isn't it? Something fresh. Have Woods win the King of the Ring. We'll see.
That's his dream. So that certainly would be quite cool to see. But yeah, I mean, we mentioned Bray Wyatt a minute ago, and we'll go on to this next question here now from Jones. He says, how would you book Bray Wyatt debut in AEW, and who would you have him feud with? I have a few ideas, but Aaron, do you have any ideas of what you would do?
God, no, sort of took me by surprise. See, I think the obvious one would maybe have him sort of align with Malachi Black, but then I don't know if they'd be better off separate, because I know Malachi Black sort of keeps talking about this boatman, doesn't he? You got to pay the boatman's toll. So I don't know whether that could be to do with Bray Wyatt at all. Maybe Bray Wyatt could be the leader of the Dark Order. I think that's another thing that could definitely happen, because let's be honest, they have kind of floundered since Brody's tragic passing. So yeah, it would be really good to see them built up again. But no, I'm not too sure. What about yourself?
So you've took the words out of my mouth there. I think the Dark Order is the way to do it, because the fact is, what you could do with Bray, he could come in to do the work in tribute of Brody Lee. He could lead them in Brody Lee's honor, in his vision. And I think that you could have a really fun way of the way that you could bring them in. Like you could have like those video packages playing weeks in beforehand. And, like with the Eater of Worlds, you always had like, I'm here kind of thing. It's like, or, it's like, he's coming. Just have like some dark things going wrong in the back. Like, how they do these things, go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, mate. No, I was just going to say, could you imagine like if they did a vignette or the day he like debuts and he just shows up on the screen, maybe with a lamp, and he just goes, "I'm here." Like, oh, that would be so good.
Yeah, it just to have that little touch. It would just be a nice little nugget.
Yeah.
And I think his contract is around Halloween time. So I mean, if you can get to the Rampage part, I mean, obviously with the Dark Order right now, they are having a bit of friction. So I think you can play off of that and continue to have that friction. But Evil Uno can be almost the person that can come out and say, you know, we know he's coming and he's gonna fix everything. We know it's gonna get sorted. Like the Dark Order will reign supreme again. We know we're losing matches. We know that we're not on the same page, but things are going to get better because Evil Uno seems to be that mouthpiece currently, and you can get towards where that date will be, and you can almost have a thing where the last sort of week, and this is how I would debut it, have the number 13 come up on the screen because 13 is supposed to be an unlucky number. It felt really well with that dark sort of tradition. What's the date for the next pay-per-view Full Gear? November 13th. It's on a Saturday, so it's not quite Friday the 13th, but it's the closest thing we can get to it. And I think depending on how you want to do it, obviously, I think Bray gets a pop on the way he starts, but either Bray comes in and costs Hangman Adam Page against Kenny Omega for the championship as the heel stable, and they're all together as one aligned, and Hangman then goes against the people that protected him before, or he comes in of protection against the super elites, which now are getting stronger with Adam Cole, and that helps Adam Cole win the championship one way or the other, depending on what way you want to go with face or heel. That would be the way that I think I would book it. I don't know if any of that would work at all, but if you do like it, let me know in the comments below. That's
I like it.
Yeah,
that's great.
Let's see if it could work indeed. But Jonesy, let us know your thoughts in the comments, mate. But Martin Carrera says, is Charlotte Flair overshining the rest of the women's division in the main roster? I mean, she's the opportunity and she's doing some great things right now, although there has been some questionable couple of weeks with Nia Jax. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Charlotte Flair. I never make any, stranger to that fact. What are your thoughts with Charlotte Flair right now in the women's division?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a fan of Charlotte Flair. She hasn't sort of done any wrong in my eyes, and I do agree with Martin in a way. Like at the end of the day, she is sort of levels above a lot of those women on the roster, and sometimes it does feel like she has to work down to their level. I don't know whether she would suit being on SmackDown a bit more. Where you've got women like Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, maybe a few more established stars that are on SmackDown. But yeah, no, I see where he's coming from there for sure.
I certainly would like to see Charlotte against Sasha Banks again because, I mean, now it feels like about 4 or 5 years since we had that match. It now would feel fresh again.
Yeah, definitely. That would be a good match to have. Would be great to see her against Bianca Belair. I'm pretty sure they're going for a Becky Charlotte Survivor Series match. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But yeah, I think there has been rumors that she might actually leave for AEW, but can't see that happening anytime soon.
Not at the moment. I think she's going to be after those 16. But can you imagine if she left on 15 from WWE to go and get the 16th in AEW? What a smack in the face that would be.
Girl, just a bit.
Just a little bit. Well, Supersonic X has got a question for you. I can keep quiet on this one. What are your thoughts on Asuka's arm injury from last week? Do you think everybody is already missing? And how would you book her return?
Oh. Yeah. Is she actually injured with an arm injury? I wasn't sure. I thought she was just sort of taking time off. But
she is. Yeah, she was pictured on Twitter about, I would say, it says last week, so I'm guessing it's around a week, nearly 2 weeks ago now. She finally got her teeth fixed after Shayna Baszler decided to practice her Cristiano Ronaldo skills in the ring earlier this year. And I think now we've established she was wearing a cast during that as well. So she has seen some sort of arm injury. So that's why she's not being used at the moment. It's not just a lack of creative.
Yeah, because I think that's what a lot of people have sort of assumed actually, that creative don't have anything for her, because that's what I've heard lately. But I actually quite like it because over the whole pandemic era, obviously her title reign wasn't very good. And I think she does need a bit of a break sort of thing just to refresh and all that. But how I would book her return, because I think I would have, because she'd probably come back to Raw. Maybe she could come back to SmackDown. Oh, that's a tough one, actually. I'd say if she, I know, they really are. If she was coming back to Raw, though, maybe just to have Charlotte maybe just run through the division, keep up with her, sort of eyeing the opportunity, and there's no one out there. Maybe Asuka can come back that way. I know we've seen them fight off a couple of times. Also, it would be quite cool to see maybe Asuka come to SmackDown with Becky Lynch as the champion, because obviously when Becky Lynch went on maternity leave, that was kind of when they were going to start feuding for the belt. So maybe that they could resume that from there. So yeah, either one of those I would have thought.
There's a number of options there, Noob. What do you reckon? Let us know in the comments below. But
I'm sorry if it's no good.
I thought there's some solid suggestions there, honestly. And I mean, obviously, Asuka, when she does return, she will have a role to play. There's no doubt about that. But Jonesy wants to know, how would you try and recover the Lily doll stuff to make it a worthwhile purpose? I think you don't. I think you just get rid of it. That's what I think. But
honestly, I read that question and that was my reaction. I was like, just you can't fix it. Just get rid of it.
I think personally, I mean, the thing is, it has been selling on merchandise, and there are people. I won't name this, but I saw a podcast right the other day. One of the things that kept them watching Raw was Alexa Bliss and the Lily doll. So there are fans out there of it. They just, unfortunately, I'm not one of them. So and obviously Jonesy himself isn't either. So I mean, looking at it, it's like, I don't know what's the best thing to do with it, because a transition into a superstar, you can do as supernatural stuff, but I think, I want to keep the language clean, but I mean, how do you keep it believable for someone of our age group to kind of go, I buy into that's now a superstar? It's kind of gone too far. I think you do a simple thing where a wrestler, dare I say, kills it off by ripping the head off the doll. That's what I would do. Yeah. Make Alexa angry and then start a feud that way. That's the only way I think we can make Lily have some sort of worthwhile purpose.
Yeah, I do agree. That probably is the best way. I think maybe a different way. The thing is, it's so controversial because I'm literally just ripping off what Bray Wyatt did. But maybe actually give Lily a voice, and you can have those skits where she's got a voice like Ramble and Rabbit did. That might be the only saving grace for me. But no, I think the best course is, just have someone rip his head off, or rip her head off, sorry, and be done with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping you said the Bray Wyatt mallet. That's where I was hoping you were going with that for a second.
Sorry.
It's not a problem at all. But Marta Correa says, what can Ruby Soho provide to AEW's growth? A lot to the women's division, I'd imagine. I can't wait for a match with Britt Baker. And they've got a great match set tonight on Dynamite with Jamie Hayter. I think that should be potential show stealer, that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just a bit more experience for sure. She's been wrestling for a long time. She's only been in WWE she was in WWE for a few years, but I think she was quite underrated as a wrestler. She's got a lot of talent. Just think she can just bring a little bit of star power to AEW, and she's different, isn't she? I think she can prove to be quite sort of an inspiration to a lot of young people who are, she isn't that stereotypical, sort of just person, really, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it can definitely do a lot of good things, I think, for the women's division.
Absolutely. Like I said, her personality is unique. She stands out. She's a great in-ring talent. She's got great experience. She can pass that on to the youth, obviously, of the AEW younger women's roster when it's dark or dark elevation. She's got some great matches already set, it looks like, in the early future there with Jamie Hayter. I really hope that the program with her and Britt Baker is dragged out to full gear. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I reckon they could definitely do something. That's what I really want to see with Britt Baker. I know she's had matches with Statlander and Nyla Rose, but they haven't really seemed too meaty. Nothing you can really sink your teeth into. So yeah, I agree. I would love, like a 2-month, 3-month feud between these guys.
It would make me more believable that Ruby Soho would win the championship. If this is just dragged out for 2 or 3 weeks, it makes you feel that, the Dr. DMD is going to retain that championship.
Yeah, definitely. You never know. If it is built up that long, they could do it, because I think Britt Baker would have held on for the championship for quite a long time. So,
yeah, certainly a possibility indeed there. D-Star in the house says, that doll thing ain't working for me. Need to get rid. I think he wants the Bray Wyatt mallet to be brought back for one night only. So, thank you for your comment, D-Star, and we both agree. Lisa Stansbury in the house. PWI 500, not Roman Reigns. So stupid. Kenny Omega haven't much these days. A better story. Roman came back from cancer. It's so dumb. Well, Roman did come back from cancer. It's great to see him back in the ring. Obviously, we're very fortunate for that. Both, in my opinion, have had a fantastic last 12 months. I would be on the side of saying that I think Roman Reigns should have topped that list with storytelling and the way that his matches have played out. But Kenny Omega, in my opinion, has also done a great job. What's your thoughts on this? Where do you stand, Aaron?
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the PWI 500. Yeah, where did Roman Reigns place on it? Or
I must admit, I haven't seen it either. I just know Kenny Omega was number one. For the love of God, don't ask me who 500 was.
No, that's quite of a shock to me, to be honest. I think Roman Reigns has been head and shoulders above anyone else in the wrestling industry, to be honest, this past year. Obviously, Kenny Omega has done some brilliant work, though. So, it's not too surprising, I suppose. I think Roman Reigns deserved it, but it's fair enough to give it to Kenny.
Absolutely. I think that here's the difference of why I think he gets it and not Roman. And Lisa, if you know where Roman came in that list, please let us know in the comments below because we haven't seen it. My guess would be that Kenny, being the belt collector and working multiple different promotions, may have something to do with it rather than just, if it was just the one show and the one show, I think Roman takes it. But I think the fact that Kenny's been on Impact, he's been in AAA as well. He's done a lot of work in this last 12 months. So I think that could be the note of why. Going back onto Asuka very quickly, Supersonic X says, I say have Asuka show up at Extreme Rules by attacking Charlotte Flair. Have Asuka announced her entry into the Queen's Crown tournament, be on the SmackDown, rebuild her feud with Charlotte for WrestleMania 38. I like that suggestion. What's your thoughts, Aaron? That's
far better than my suggestion. That's where I wanted to go with it. But, I love it. Yeah, that's brilliant. I think Charlotte and Asuka, a rematch at WrestleMania would be awesome. Maybe get Asuka to get that win back. Because I think ever since that match, Asuka has always sort of seen by the WWE as sort of one step down from Charlotte. So it would be cool to see her finally on a level playing field with these, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky Lynch. Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic suggestion. I really like it. Couldn't do it better if I tried. There you go, Supersonic X. You've done awesome stuff there indeed. D-Star, Roman was second. So there we are. Roman was second in the PWI 500 list there. So it's good to see that we actually know where he came anyway in there. And like I said, those two are definitely the right top two. So there's definitely no argument in that from us.
Yeah,
Jonesy Chat Stressing says, what is your favorite storyline and heel turn ever? Aaron, this is going to be tricky. I think he wants us here all night with these ones. There's some tough ones coming in this week.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would go with Hogan's, but I'm going to go for something a little bit different. I'm going to go for Triple H's heel turn on Shawn Michaels in 2002. I think Scott Retro Wrestling would like that suggestion as well. But I love that iconic moment where, they're on the camera and Michael's like, it's you, Hunter. And he was like, you're damn right, it was me. Yeah, I love that heel turn. Great storyline leading into their SummerSlam match. And I love the feud between Michaels and Triple H. It was like a 2-year-long feud. I think that's sort of maybe where they drew the where Gargano and Ciampa drew the inspiration from. I always got a lot of Michaels Triple H vibes from those two. So that would probably be mine.
I like it. Fantastic. I mean, Gargano Ciampa in modern era definitely is for me, but I'm going to go with something that we've talked about previously on a previous stream, believe it or not, Aaron. I'm going to go for when it was the double heel turn with Bret Hart and Steve Austin back at WrestleMania 13. I think that the way that was done was very clever, and I think that they played the crowd so well to not just effectively do one heel turn, but effectively do the face turn as well. And I think for me, that worked really, really well because that summer, with Bret Hart as that heel with the leader of the Hart Foundation, I think was fantastic. So for me, that's going to be my shout. But the thing is, it's so hard that I'm sure that I may have one that I might like more. But at the top, maybe that's what I'm going to go with. But one of just a small retro one, just why not? Because it's there. I did enjoy Kane's heel turn back in 2000. I believe it was 2002, 2003 on RVD when he had to unmask. I just always remember that being iconic. That was really fun back in the day.
Yeah, that was really good one. That's a really good show. You've got all the big shows heel turns, could pick any one of them.
I'll go back for SmackDown. SmackDown a couple of years ago. He came in as a heel, turned face, then he went back to being heel again. Can't remember who it was against, but I think Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler might have had something to do with it. But I don't. don't think Jonesy was hoping for that one, but let's see what he's hoping here, because I don't want to lose too much with the order. Some of these questions came in early, and I don't want to actually get lost in the feed. So clearly, AEW are building future stars like Jungle Boy. Who would you like to see WWE build to eventually face Roman and Bobby at WrestleMania if The Rock and Brock, that rhymes, are not available?
Oh, Karrion Kross. I know what they've done to him lately, but I know a lot of people don't really like him either. But I personally really like his work. And if they were able to sort of bring back that mystique, he's one guy I would like to see. I know he's not really a new star, but I would like to see Drew McIntyre be the one to take the title off Roman eventually. I think that could elevate him to a new height. Ricochet, that's another guy I want to see. Chad Gable, there's so many guys for sure. Xavier Woods, why not?
Yeah, I'd love it. I'll give a couple of names out that I think. Keith Lee, this first one that stands out to me, because I think Keith Lee could be a face of the company if used and booked correctly. I would like Big E in that position as well. I think with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it certainly could be something that could be a future star there. But Drew McIntyre, like you say, I think Drew versus Roman, that is kind of the biggest match WWE can put on right now with their current stars. I know we saw it at Survivor Series last year, but if you put Drew on SmackDown, you put it for WrestleMania, I think that certainly could be an idea. But one last one just beforehand, because I like the storyline. If you want to break up the bloodline and make G Uso that main eventer, and you go full circle with that storyline, because it was fantastic when they did it. It's gone very cold in the last few months, but if they ever wanted to revisit it once again, that certainly wouldn't be a bad option either.
Yeah, I like it. Definitely.
Well, Martin Carrillo says, does WWE feel too comfortable with Reigns and Flair as their champions towards competition that is AEW? When would I have faith in the new and up-and-coming talents? Great question.
Ooh. I think the thing is with Reigns, maybe they do feel too comfortable, but I think Reigns is doing some of the best work at the moment, and I definitely think he is one of maybe the few positives about WWE at the moment, whilst they're combating AEW. That's one of the relevant things. So I personally wouldn't have his title reign anytime soon. With Flair, I could definitely probably see maybe they do feel a bit comfortable with Flair. Giving her the title again is one of those sort of predictable things. So I definitely think they could maybe elevate some new talent in the women's division. You've got like girls like Liv Morgan, and obviously Bianca Belair losing the title to Becky Lynch. There's so many girls on NXT as well. I'm quite surprised like Io Shirai hasn't been called up yet. Toni Storm hasn't appeared for like 5 weeks now. What is she doing? Why? I can't believe they're not pushing Toni Storm. I think she's got so much potential. So yeah, maybe more so with the women's division for me at the moment.
I would have to agree. I think the women's division, we're at the stage of the women's division. I think we need to start evolving and pushing for that next generation. We've got the likes of Bianca. We've got Rhea. Like you said, we mentioned other ones there, like Toni Storm is another one that could be a great potential there. There is so many people that could be in that role. Perhaps they're comfortable with Flair. But as well, they want Flair to have the 16 world title reigns as well. So they're always going to keep doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if Flair loses that championship again at Extreme Rules. It seems to be the pattern of what they're trying to do right now. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see how they go. But like you said with Reigns, long may he reign. I'm quite a fan of what they're doing with Roman Reigns right now. And of course,
Sammartino.
Absolutely.
It's got to surpass Sammartino.
if we're still not bored of it in 6 years' time and we're still doing these live streams, Reigns must keep the championship. Goodness, it's WrestleMania. Goodness knows what. To be fair, I'd love to see it. If they can make it invested for that long, why not do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Alyssa Sansbury has mentioned again, of course, the news that's broke before we came on the stream. Triple H underwent surgery. Of course, it was a cardiac event. Thankfully, though, I will say that it was a successful procedure and he's expected to make a full recovery. So that's the positive news that's come from that, Alicia. And we do wish him all the very, very best, a speedy, quick recovery. Thoughts are with him and, of course, with the McMahon family all during this time. But it's very sad news, but it's very pleasing to hear that it was successful and he's expected to be back full recovery very, very soon. But D-Star says, The Rock's heel turn promo in Toronto was epic. A great throwback to a heel turn there back in the day. I certainly enjoyed that back then. Do you have fond memories of this one as well, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good show with The Rock. Anytime he would do something like that. But yeah, this was a good one. That is a good shout for sure.
Absolutely, indeed. There, best of the world, 1989 is with us. He says, "Evening, guys. Evening to you as well. Hope you're doing very, very well." And answering one of the early questions, Keith Lee, build him up, Jonesy, is what he says. So Keith Lee is the man for best in the world. There, that's what we like to see, indeed. Supersonic X says, "No problem, Steve and rest of our Wooldridge. Besides, if we can't wait for Charlotte to go to AEW, then we've got to think big. Maybe loser leaves WWE. Winner takes all match at WrestleMania 38. Sorry for the Oscar comments. We don't mind an Oscar comment. It's not a problem." At all. It don't ever be sorry. I mean, Oscar's one of your favorites, and we're happy. This is a live stream. You guys make, or girls make, the control. You tell us what we should talk about. That's what your role is. And I think you had a fantastic suggestion, everyone. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you were going to make another Oscar versus Charlotte match, you need to raise the stakes, and something like that, a loser leaves town, or winner takes all. That's the sort of vibe you need to do to make that, keep that appealing.
Yeah, that would build up a lot of anticipation, wouldn't it? It would build up a lot of buzz. People would be like, "Oh, is Charlotte going to go?" Yeah, I like that. That's another good suggestion there by Supersonic.
Tony Khan would actually be checking what the contract situation is on both of them as that match was announced. I can promise you. But,
yeah.
Definitely would be the way forward. But we've got Best in the World says McIntyre is, he's stale at the moment. Yeah, he's a little bit stale and raw. I think definitely it's coming to a point where I think he needs a fresh change. I think SmackDown definitely is the one that would be the right place for him. But
I agree.
We've also got an unpopular opinion here on Jones's question. How's about Damian Priest? He gives off the Ministry Undertaker vibe, so I'm going with Damian Priest. With Damian Priest, I think actually we go to talk about this. I spoke about this last week on the live Q&A actually when I had my best man James joined me on the show last week. And we actually spoke about Damian Priest, and we said that big victory on Raw over Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And of course, he beat Drew clean. It's one of their matches where you really put him over at that point. It feels like Damian Priest is organically getting the right push at the right time, at the right level. And I even said last week, I think he could be an outside bet to win the Royal Rumble next year at an early bet at this stage. Could you see Damian Priest being someone that could A, win the Royal Rumble and B, main event at WrestleMania next year? Yeah,
definitely. It's just one of those guys that I didn't think of, to be honest, but for sure he could be one of them. To be honest, before his stuff with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, I wasn't too sure, but seeing him go up against Lashley and these other sort of main event talents, he just fits right in, doesn't he? So I could definitely see a Rumble win and maybe a WrestleMania moment. He's over with the fans. He's got a great look, big guy, great wrestler. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm loving the Ministry vibe as well there, that comment there, because of course he was a part of Kevin Sullivan's group back in Ring of Honor back in the day when he was Punishment Martinez. So it's a fun little throwback for that as well there. So that's quite fun to see. And Elisa Sansbury, so over push for horsewomen. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's good to see a little bit of a change in the guard. You were seeing them being pushed so much over the last few years. It would be good to see something fresh, something new. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley kind of represents that.
Yeah, definitely. And these four women now have the star power to build up the other women on the roster. I think that is one of the biggest challenges with women's wrestling, because obviously there's not too many women on the roster. It's that much harder to make sure things don't get stale. So what you need to do is you need to put more onus on building up all of the women, so that way you haven't got any stale matches. Everything feels fresh and sort of big time. So yeah, I definitely think these four women could be used better to help bring up the others.
Yeah, absolutely. Use them to make your fresh new stars. I think that's a perfect point you make there. I really, really like that. Supersonic X, what was the worst heel turn? I like this. We've gone for the best now. The worst heel turn. Of course, Supersonic says definitely will say Oscar and Kyrie's heel turn, most likely because Oscar now has no manager to back her up. That's a fun suggestion. I have an idea, if you don't mind me taking it first, Aaron, and this might be controversial.
Yeah,
it's controversial. I'm going for Becky Lynch back at SummerSlam. I believe it was 2018 when she turned on Charlotte Flair when she should have shook her hand and instead clocked her one in the face, because that got her as one of the most over talents in the company. It was the exact opposite effect of what WWE wanted. So for that reason, I'm going to say Becky Lynch.
Oh, God, that is a tough question, to be honest. I think the most unpopular heel turn was probably Stone Cold Steve Austin's. At the WrestleMania, where afterwards he shook Vince McMahon's hand. I think a lot of people were a little bit baffled by that one, obviously. So yeah, I'll go with that one.
I think it's a fair one. I mean, the thing is, at the time, I still find it groundbreaking and shocking to this day. WrestleMania 17 is my favorite show. But I mean, looking at it, like, I mean, in hindsight, it definitely was the wrong move, and they had a chance to turn it, and they sort of started it, and then he went back with the heel turn. So yeah, that definitely, I think Austin's heel turn definitely is probably arguably one of the probably worst decisions of heel turns of all time. It definitely, the product has never been the same since. Put it that way.
Yeah, I definitely, it wasn't worse like as in boring, but yeah, as you say, you know, worst as in an unpopular decision.
Absolutely, and business-wise as well. Best in the world, 1989, and no one is better than Purrazzo at the moment. No one even comes close. And again, I said it for Reigns, but for this time, for the Virtuosa, long may she reign. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Deonna Purrazzo. Are you the same?
Yeah, she's my favourite wrestler in Impact, to be honest. She's so good. Oh my God, yeah, she just can't do no wrong at the moment. I can't believe WWE got rid of this woman. She's so good. And yeah, you know, if Britt Baker Purrazzo does happen at some point, that's going to be money. Like, because these women are just on fire at the moment. But yeah, love Purrazzo.
Yeah, she's absolutely incredible. When we speak about PWIs, when it comes to the 500 for the women, I want to see her top it. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to. I think she's going to be in the top 5. I think Bianca will probably top it, but I want Purrazzo there because I think she definitely deserves it. She's had a killer year, and again, she's been going everywhere.
Exactly, yeah. You know, if you're going to give Omega the top spot because of where he went, well, Purrazzo's gone to Mexico. You know, she's performed in NWA. Why not?
Why not? Indeed, yeah. I particularly enjoyed a match with Melina in Power as well, when it looks like they're building with her and Mickie James for Bound for Glory. So, yeah, I mean, we've got some great matches as well to look forward to coming up with Purrazzo. So, yeah, we're definitely we're Purrazzo fans. I think you've probably told that by now. But, yeah. Martin Carrera, any more surprises on tonight's Dynamite? Well, let's talk Dynamite, shall we? Because we've got a few things that are lined up. We know that CM Punk is going to speak, obviously, after his first match back, give his thoughts on that. Bryan Danielson is going to address the AEW audience. We've got Malachi Black against Dustin Rhodes to look forward to. It's actually mentioned here by Best in the World as well. We're saying about Ruby Soho against Jamie Hayter, so we'll be talking more about that in a second. And as well as that, I believe Powerhouse Hobbs is going to be in action against Dante Martin. And there's one other match that escapes my brain in a minute. But give me your thoughts on that, and I'm going to quickly go and find that match for us. What do you reckon of that card so far?
Yeah, it's a great card. Can't wait for Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley.
That's the one.
Is that the one you think? Yeah.
That's the one, yeah, of all of them. It's the main event.
That's going to be brilliant. Yeah, and just, you know, the anticipation is so high because we're going to see Cole. Everyone wants to know what Cole, Danielson, and Punk, what they're going to do next. So it's going to be fantastic. As far as surprises go, it might be a bit, you know, might not happen, but maybe Tanahashi shows up after Moxley Suzuki, maybe on a big screen. I'm not sure if he's still in Japan at the moment. Or maybe CJ Perry shows up with Miro. That could be one thing, because I think a lot of people have thought she was definitely going to show up on All Out, but maybe because they had so many other debuts, they were like, oh, we don't want her to get lost in the shuffle. So
that makes a lot of sense. That really does, because, I mean, the two things you said there, if there is any surprises tonight, that's going to be them. Because like you said, CJ Perry, it would have been overkill having another superstar turn up. She would have definitely got lost in momentum as well. Tanahashi is a match that we want to see against Jon Moxley. Perhaps they could build towards that if Suzuki, after that match, which is going to be awesome, by the way, as well, with the home. They need to do something to ruin Jon Moxley's homecoming if he's going to be successful over Suzuki. So there's definitely lots of elements of surprise in that. One thing's for sure, AEW is unpredictable. So even if there's no debuts, no show-ups, they probably don't need them at this stage. But what I would say is that the show feels like you cannot miss it. And I think that's a great thing. Maybe one other surprise I'll throw out there. What if Cody returns tonight to go and actually confront Malachi Black?
That's a really good show. Yeah, definitely. Because I think after Dustin Rhodes, it's kind of like, what does he do next? So, yeah, no, Cody's a really good show for sure. Oh, it's going to be a good show. I love as well that they've got like a match between Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin. You know, it's just two guys that are lower down the card, young guys, and you've got them on probably one of the most anticipated shows of the year. It's just great, isn't it? You know, just two young guys that are getting that spotlight. It's awesome.
It's incredible. It's great to see it because Hobbs has had a great win record outside of Dynamite. Obviously, we saw him on the other week, and then I think he lost. No, he did. He beat Brian Cage a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that was he's on a good momentum. Dante Martin, of course, himself had a great showing as well. That 6-man as well recently with Kenny Omega as well. So I want to see what they're going to do, and it's a great way to give exposure for someone like Dante Martin and for Powerhouse Hobbs as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table. We mentioned here, Best in the World gave us here about comments on Ruby Soho and Jamie Hayter tonight. So soon for both, or would you say it's a breakout moment for both? Well, I mean, for me, Hayter's already been on a losing effort, hasn't she, in that sort of 2-on-1 match. I didn't want to see Hayter lose so soon, but I do feel like that this feels like it's a big-time match, and this is something that AEW's women's division has needed with these stars breaking through, a lot more focus on it. We're starting to get like This Is Awesome chance on a more regular basis for the women's matches. I'm excited for this match. That's something I'd say. I'm just hyped that we're getting it.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited too for this match. I don't think it's too soon just yet because I don't think Jamie Hayter is being put in that position just yet. And obviously, she's sort of reaping the benefits from being with Britt Baker at the moment. Her time will definitely come because, she's a great wrestler. But yeah, it's going to be a great match. And, you've got to start putting these competitive matches on television. Obviously, sometimes no one likes her to be a loser, but it's just better than a disqualification or a roll-up, isn't it? We know Tony Khan doesn't like doing those finishes, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. That's what I would say. Martin Carril with a very interesting question for us here. I don't know if the draft can save WWE's booking. Thoughts? And should WWE bring in people like Mick Foley to add into creative? Obviously, the draft is a ratings pop. It's a boost for a week or two. You don't know where anyone's going. Hell, it's great for the channel. But the thing is like at the same time, I love draft season. Honestly, it gets me at my creative best. But WWE disappoints each and every year. What's your thoughts? Do you feel that the draft will save WWE's booking this year, or do you think it just might make a difference? WWE probably don't have a clue what they're going to do yet.
I think it could freshen things up for sure, because it seems like now, like John Morrison, for instance, he's always facing like the same 3 or 4 guys, because at the end of the day, the rosters aren't that big, so there really isn't many other people for him to face. So if you move a lot of these guys about, there is going to be those fresh matchups, which is usually always the case after a draft. It always does feel a little bit fresher, and I think WWE needs that more than ever, to be honest. Drew McIntyre, we were speaking about him earlier, prime example of someone who has just gotten a bit stale and will benefit from moving over to SmackDown for sure. And as far as Mick Foley goes, I would be up for it. I think WWE need to have wrestlers in those creative positions like AEW does, because at the end of the day, you've got guys in there that, they're like soap opera creative or film creative. Are they really wrestling fans?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, when you have someone that didn't know the WWE's champion's name, it's not a good look. It's not a good feeling. So, yeah, someone like Mick Foley, to even oversee it, maybe doesn't do the creative, but he looks and says, I tweak that. No, that doesn't work. That storyline doesn't connect like that. I think that's definitely something that would be quite good. But at the same time, is there still really too many cooks in the kitchen? It feels like there's such a big creative team. When you go back in the old days, you had Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara, and just a handful of people, Jim Cornette. There wasn't too many more people that could, you could have a vision of what a storyline was from beginning to middle to end. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that is what AEW are doing quite well. They're letting the wrestlers book a lot of the storylines and the matches. Obviously, they have producers. But the thing is, AEW is a company that does listen to what their fans want. So if something doesn't work out, that's where Tony Khan or a producer steps in, like you said, to say, well, no, maybe don't do it like that. Maybe tweak it a little bit. Like you say, WWE have too many cooks in the kitchen. They're just trying to micromanage everything. Maybe just like we saw at WrestleMania, when all these wrestlers were cutting awesome promos.
Yeah.
Just let them do that, and then you can tweak the little bits that don't work.
Absolutely, indeed. Then we speak about too many cooks in the kitchen. Nick Khan's taken away the catering luxuries they've had previously. So yeah, it's not going very well at the moment all round, really. If you're a WWE fan, but Best in the World says, I guess Supersonic has never watched Lucha Underground. I'm sure Curry Sane went up against Pentagon Jr. and Io and Mayu on the same night. Great heel work from the women. Interesting. I do remember Pentagon doing a 3-on-1 handicap match at the time. I don't remember the performers at the time. That's definitely something I would like to Google at some point. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big Lucha Underground fan. If anyone hasn't watched it, I'd recommend it. Are you a fan of Lucha Underground?
I only watched season 1. I think I started watching it when they were like in their 5th season, and I did watch the first season and I was into it, but I think in the end I sort of just didn't have the time to. But it is, I do definitely want to go back and watch some of their other matches for sure.
Absolutely.
I love their Oh, sorry, you go.
Go on, you go. Sorry.
I know. I was just saying, I love the Aztec Warfare matches. They were amazing. I just thought, like, this is a step up from the Royal Rumble because I just love the whole pinfall situation. It was great.
Absolutely, they are fantastic. They really are. They're honestly, for me, when you see season 1, I love season 2 and season 3, and I think there's some of the best work that was done in wrestling creatively around the era. If anyone hasn't done it, search it out, go and watch it. And like I say, Aztec Warfare, it's like the Royal Rumble for people that just quickly don't know what we're talking about. Basically, it's like a Royal Rumble. Two people start in the ring. Someone comes every so often, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and it is pinfall elimination, not over the top rope, and anything goes. Literally, the rule book goes out of the window. I think that it's certainly a very creative match, and definitely recommend. Well, I'd love to see it in WWE at some point, or AEW. It'd more likely be in AEW. I feel that's probably a more company right for it.
Yeah, I think MLW might do it because obviously you've got the whole Azteca Underground and Dario Cueto's in it. I don't know what he's called now, but so I think that's a company that might do it. But yeah, I'd love to see it in a maybe a bigger promotion.
Might have to start checking out MLW. There you go. Breaking news. Lisa Stansbury, Fresh Breath Air, Raquel, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair deserve more. Oscar, Kairi Saint deserve bigger in WWE. I mean, Oscar's obviously had a lot of title reigns in WWE. Obviously, we can't really go against that. But just to say as well there, I mean, Kairi Saint definitely deserved more. But it's great to see as well, we said with those other ones, they're up-and-coming stars that have been champions this year.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah, Raquel as well. She's one that if she was brought up, she could be pushed to the moon. I think with Rhea Ripley, the problem is with her, I think they are controlling her character a bit too much. Just let her go out there and be herself. And I think a lot of people will feel a little bit better about her. But yeah, as you say, Asuka and Kairi Sane maybe deserved a bit more. Obviously, Asuka has had her title reigns, as you said, but things haven't gone too great for her, I suppose. Like obviously with the loss to Charlotte, and I think that's the thing with Asuka. When she comes up against a really big opponent, that's when she sometimes would fall. So I think a lot of people just want to see that changed a bit.
Yeah, absolutely would agree with that indeed. DW in the house, so one of the most positive people in the wrestling community, more positive than the New Day. Literally, is that positive? What a crazy week of wrestling! He is not wrong. It's been a very, very crazy week. And DW, thank you for checking out. Dan, hope you're doing well, my friend. And thanks for checking out the stream. As well, Supersonic X, Becky from this year and 2018 at SummerSlam. That's very dumb of Becky Lynch, obviously referring to the heel turns there. Yeah, I mean, this year's as well, you could say it definitely was a dumb heel turn at the time. But the storyline since hasn't been so bad. I've been quite intrigued in what they've done since then. So it could be a blessing in disguise long term.
Yeah. I think it could work out. I think the problem was, I think it just happened too quickly and at the expense of an up-and-coming star. I think when Becky Lynch comes back, she's that big of a star that people just want to cheer her. So maybe it could have been a bit more of a slow burn and obviously have a bigger match with Bianca Belair so people don't hate that one. But it's Becky Lynch, isn't it? She's great. She knows what she's doing. So I don't think it's ever going to be terrible.
No, I totally agree. I don't think it'll be terrible, however it goes down. But it's going to be interesting to see what's going to go on the Becky Lynch storyline because, of course, we've got the contract signing this week, MSG, with her and Bianca Belair. So looking forward to see where that's going to go from there. But Martin Correa says, I would like to see SmackDown as this few big names and have the rest of names like Ricochet, Cedric Alexander build themselves up and repackage talent that's needed. Thoughts? Well, that's the thing. Excuse me. If you, rather than always bring new faces in, WWE can always look to what they've got and build them up properly. And if they did that with the right talent, surely they could make new stars.
Yeah, definitely. They don't need to look elsewhere. As you say, they've got guys like Ricochet, Cedric, Chad Gable, all these guys that are lower down the card. Like Akira Tozawa is another one. The name escapes me now. He had the roses. I can't remember his name.
Angel Garza.
Angel Garza, that's the one. That's another guy. So much talent that these guys can all get pushed higher up the card for sure, and it would feel fresh. So.
Absolutely. And that's what we want to see. We want to see some fresh WWE, some fresh faces. I think that definitely would help a lot of the ratings and the viewing public, personally, in my personal opinion. If you want to build and WWE to continue it as this phenomenon that it is, it needs a change of the guard. But we spoke about surprises for AEW Dynamite. How about this one from Best in the World? It says Buddy Matthews turns up in the Black Dustin match to assist Malachi Black. Now, would you be down for that?
Yeah, you could definitely be down for that. And I think it could be one of the surprises that happens tonight. I think that Buddy Matthews will be showing up on Impact maybe, but after I think everyone sort of drew the similarities between their two vignettes before Black show up. So yeah, it could be something that happens tonight.
We'll have to wait and see. It'll be exciting, certainly if it does go down, and we'll have to give a pat on the back to BIWTW. Sorry, easy for me to say. Best in the world. We keep it best in the world. Pat on the back if you get that right, my friend. And he also says, Kevin Steen, El Generico versus the Young Bucks in AEW. Anyone? I mean, I can just see the head shake on the side here. Yeah, Aaron, you're down for this all day long, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Have Kevin Steen and Generico against anybody. But yeah, the Young Bucks, that would be awesome. Yeah, take my money.
We're just literally going to make it rain, honestly. Kevin Steen to unite with Cole and the Bucks and have them turn on Omega and have Mount Rushmore reunite. Of course, the PWG stable. That would be pretty exciting to see. I mean, we're very excited. We spoke about earlier in this video the prospect of potentially Kevin Owens leaving WWE to come to AEW. Certainly would be a lot of fun. Obviously, these have previous history together. And I think they could play that really well into storyline, whether Steen was to be on their side or against them. They definitely would use that into storyline terms very, very well with these hardcore AEW fan base, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, definitely. That would be a great route to take it down. Wouldn't be surprised if they do that because we know how much Khan likes his faction. So if you can create another faction and out of one, then I think it would be all for that. But yeah, that sounds great. And I think it would be a great storyline for the Elite to go down.
Yeah, definitely. We keep things fresh as well. And while the wallet's out from Aaron at the moment, it's saying take his money. How about this match? El Generico versus Jungle Boy. Oh my.
There's too many. There's just too many matches. It's bad enough now. We've got Cole, Danielson, and Punk. Just so many dream matches, isn't there? Especially if Steen and Generico shows up. So, it's exciting.
It is indeed. It's almost like the forbidden door there, just talking about this. It's too early. We shouldn't be doing it. But I tell you what, it's a good chance to make a cheap plug very quickly because you've done a forbidden door video today, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. It's actually part one of a two-part video which you've done, which is, of course, the forbidden door using AEW, Impact Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling and creating dream matches, a dream card. You've done matches 20 to 11 today, if I'm not mistaken, of that card. And part two is coming later this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be dropping this weekend for sure. So, yeah, after All Out, I was just so excited. So, yeah, had to do it.
It has to be done. And people, if you haven't seen it after this video, go and check that one out. Obviously, the link of the description of Wrestling by Wooldridge channel is in the description of this video. So you can go and give him a subscribe if you haven't already. We've got C-Nation Doc in a house with us. He says that Rich Swann and Willie Mack should win the Impact Tag Team Championships of Bound for Glory. The title reign is overdue. I would agree. How about yourself, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm all up for that one. I'm a big fan of Swann and Willie Mack, so yeah, I could definitely see that happen. I think Swann needs to get some love, ever since he dropped the title to Omega, he's sort of been on the periphery, so it'll be good to see him win some gold back and get some momentum.
Absolutely. No, I would agree with that 100% there. What is the best feud in any promotion? Supersonic say Johnny Drip Drip and Brian Cage from Impact Wrestling. Hopefully might see a storyline between Drip Drip and Karrion Kross. Well, I mean, obviously it was a bit of a squash this week on Raw. Could you see Kross and Drip Drip doing more? And obviously, what's the best feud in any promotion in your opinion?
Is that best feud in any promotion right now or just sort of all time?
Let's do both. We can't miss the question if we do both.
I'd say at the moment, God, now I've got to think. At the moment, it's a very long-term feud, but probably Kenny Omega and Adam Page.
Agreed.
That is just long-term storytelling to the max, to be honest. It's still going on, little subtle hints here and there. Of all time, I did mention it earlier, but probably Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And I think Ciampa and Gargano would probably be a close second for me. As for Johnny Drip and Karrion Kross, yeah, I think we'll probably see more matches. Hopefully they get more time. I know we keep saying we don't really want to see repetitive matches, but at the end of the day, these two would never face. So, yeah, I'll be up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things they may have had a bit of impact time, but obviously in WWE, they certainly haven't. It's been a while, and I would like to see Drip get more competitive in those matches. But obviously, at the same time, maybe we'll get more matches. We'll have to wait and see on future episodes of Rematch Raw, which usually we get rematches. But best feud in any promotion. I mean, like we said earlier on, I think obviously I agree with you with Gargano and Ciampa. For me, I would go with Bret Hart and Steve Austin. Obviously, best feud in any promotion as well from all time. I mean, Austin McMahon would have to be up there with best feud ever.
Yeah.
It was create the best matches, but certainly arguably is the most of all time. But right now, I agree with you. Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, I don't think there is any argument in it. They've done such a great story over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to future comments then. Martin Career, would WWE ever build up young talent from outside the United States? And also, does WWE care to globally expand their fans? I think they care to globally expand their fans, but obviously it feels like the territories they look to start up, I believe India and Japan were two of them. It looks like they're not going to be doing them for the foreseeable future. It looks like they're not going to be doing that at all for now. So clearly they're going to focus in-house with what they've got going. I think they obviously want to grow their fan base, but maybe they're just not going always the right way about it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that one. And I think COVID may have affected their plans a little bit. But obviously, we've got NXT UK and we do have young stars like Pete Dunne. He's near the main event of NXT now. Ilya Dragunov is another guy. Yeah, there are Kaylee Ray. She's also just debuted on NXT, and Tony Storm, who's on the main roster. So they are slowly building up guys, and I think they will eventually hope to expand in places like Japan and China and India, maybe. But yeah, as you say, they've got so much talent in-house that just focus on them first and, yeah, then build them up from outside.
Absolutely. I think Tom Colohue did it on one of his videos the other day. They want to have as much wrestling on programming on as possible because, yes, it's a lot for the fan to intake, but the more wrestling that's on, the more chance someone may just turn it on and become a fan. They look to try and get that one extra fan each and every time. So that's why Nick Khan wants Raw 4 hours or wants 8 hours of a WrestleMania or 2 nights of stuff, because that's why they want to do it, because the longer it's on, the more chance someone fresh might new tune in, give something to go, might find something they connect with. They know they won't connect with all, but they might connect with something. I think that's the idea of what they're going with. So I think it's not a case of globally expanding, but yeah, definitely they need to look at building other talent up. In young talent from outside the United States would be a good shout. But of course, I mean, we have currently people like Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and all that. So I don't think that outside is necessarily the problem, but definitely they need to build up younger talent.
Yeah, I agree with what you've said there.
Definitely. Well, D-Star has gone on to say that Mick Foley's son is on creative, so Mick might have a little input already. There you go. Interesting there from D-Star. Thank you for the shout there. Really encouraged with that one. And as well, Cedric Alexander Ricochet need to go to SmackDown, and they really need a change. Well, that would be good for them to have a bit of a change going to SmackDown. Certainly would be something fresh. Maybe they get some TV time rather than being on main event every week. That certainly would be nice to see. I never watch events. That means I never see them. High Flyer is in the house. SmackDown should grab 2 or 3 televised Raw stars and hand them a lifeline, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's a great shout there in the draft. And I think the draft probably would give them that opportunity. I mean, I've been answering a lot of draft questions recently, but who would you think from Raw needs to go to SmackDown at this particular time? Perhaps you already got 2 of them there with Cedric Alexander and Ricochet.
Drew McIntyre would be my number 1, I think. Maybe a couple of the tag team guys as well, just to try and freshen up the tag division because it has seemed a bit stale. So maybe T-Bar and Mace, perhaps, give them back their original names because no one really likes that. Yeah, there's not too. I'd probably do John Morrison as well, split up John Morrison and The Miz. Obviously, I know they are going for a breakup, but just to take them apart, and maybe even Karrion Kross. He could be another guy.
Certainly would be interesting indeed. There's a lot of names there that definitely would get that lifeline high flyer that you were talking about. So certainly indeed then. Just quickly, we said that we'd go to 11. It is 11 now. Are you okay to do another 10 minutes or so? Just to wrap up the questions
all
we've
good,
got?
mate.
Yeah,
no
that's
worries.
good to know. We're just going to wrap up the questions we've got then, and then we will come off of the stream today then. And we've got Best in the World that says, Wrestling by Wooldridge, your wrestling analysis is the best I've seen in a long time, buddy. I always look forward to them.
I really appreciate them. I really appreciate that, mate. Thanks so much. Thank you.
I have to second that. It's absolutely incredible. For people that are not watching them, do it. Honestly, you're not wasting your time. And Martin Guerrero says here, WWE shouldn't counterattack AEW at all. They should still focus on the talent that fans see as big stars, and WWE hearing their own fans without a doubt. Give them some more life to the product. Your thoughts? Well, I mean, I think that's a good idea, really, of focusing on what you're doing rather than what others are doing. But then at the same time, to counter it, as I want to play devil's advocate for this question to get your thoughts on it, Aaron. Obviously, with the Monday Night Wars, it was very common for both WWE and WCW to counter what the other show was doing. If something big happened one week, they had to make sure they topped it the next week. And that was their way where eventually WWE, at the same time, focused on their talent, using that way to one-upsmanship to eventually win the Monday Night War. How do you feel it feels? Do you think retaliation is the right thing to go in this sense or the wrong thing?
I think it is the right thing. I think counter programming works, but I think you need to do it in a certain way. So I don't think you need to, make it all shock horror and everything like that. I think you just need to surprise people, but in quite a subtle way. Like Monday Night Raw, for instance, I liked the idea of having a tag team turmoil because you've got all these guys who usually don't appear wrestling. That's what Raw had a lot of, wrestling, which is what people want to see. But the problem is, you haven't given us a reason to care about any of these guys. So maybe if they took more care, it would have been a lot better. But I think the way to go about counter programming is to surprise people by having fan favorites, like we said, Cedric Alexander or Ricochet, have those long matches given 20 minutes instead of just going for the same sort of thing that they usually do. But it is a tricky one for sure.
Yeah, it's a very tricky one. I think, like you say, I think counterproductive is good, but I think it's the way you do it and how you manage it and picking the right points of how you do it. WWE threw a thing at the wall at SummerSlam, and that was where it wasn't right. And a lot of people were quite critical of how the way the things were done. So that's where I think Martin would be right, of focusing and using your stars as those attractions.
Like, someone I don't understand is, I don't understand the logic in having Becky Lynch go over Bianca Belair in 2 minutes. If Becky Lynch returned and had a 20-minute match with Belair and still won, so Belair could get over, how is that not a better idea? Like, I don't understand, to be honest. That would have been a better way of counter programming, because you're putting on a great wrestling match. No doubt it would have been great, because the two women are awesome in-ring workers. So, yeah, I think they don't think about it logically sometimes, and they're just like, let's just shock everyone by having something no one would expect. But it's not always the best idea.
No, it's not. I will do one more devil's advocate question before we go into our final questions that we've got. Does it make you want to see Extreme Rules match between these two more, though, now knowing that we probably will get a longer match this time?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it does, because I think that's something that we sort of got robbed of. But then, if they had such a great match at SummerSlam, would then people be like, oh my God, I want to see that again? Now we know kind of what to expect. And they could sort of change it up a little bit. So yeah, I think you make a good point there, and I think it works well both ways.
I actually agree with you, though. I think that people would see the match and go, wow, I want to see this again. And it's not a way. Yeah. So in a way, I feel that what they've done has worked, but I feel it has come at the expense of Bianca Belair. When we said about countering and building the talent you've got and focus, that's where it's harmed in the situation. But there certainly is, there's lots of different ways of looking at it. It's very interesting indeed. So people, let us know in the comments below what you're thinking about this, because it definitely is an interesting topic point. But we've got C Nation Dog that says it's sad that Jeff Hardy's chasing the 24/7 championship. Didn't even realize until I saw it on the internet. It's so sad. I don't know. I didn't even know it was him. I blame WWE. Yeah, it was a big shock to see Jeff Hardy in that position on Raw. But it feels like the 24/7 championship has got more contenders than the world title right now.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? They need to get rid of that championship because, I mean, Truth does well with it, but a lot of the other guys, like when you see a Jeff Hardy in there, it is just sad. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Hardy, the reason why he's in there, maybe it's because he's told him, he's not going to renew his contract. I'm not sure when it's up, but that wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, it's not great when you see a wrestler have to, go to that level.
Absolutely. Gimmick infringement from Wrestle Talk here. Jeff Hardy to AEW confirmed. Seriously. It will happen one day. It's going to happen. I can tell you. Young Bucks against the Hardy Boys one more time in AEW. They're going to make that a big thing. Whenever it can be done, that's when it will be done. I agree with you. I think that Jeff Hardy's not re-signing, and I think that could be a part to play with it. Baron Corbin is fantastic. I don't care, guys. Quality. I agree with you. I think I'm loving Happy Corbin. It's been something I've really enjoyed so far. I love the music as well. Fist pumping all the way every week on SmackDown. Now, what are your thoughts on this, Aaron?
Yeah, he's doing great work at the minute, isn't he? Probably the best he's ever been. Corbin, he's never been bad in the ring, I don't think. I just think it's just that whole thing, he's probably not one of the most exciting workers, but he's always been a great character. At the end of the day, when it comes to a heel, if, I know there's such thing as a go-away heel, but I don't think Corbin was ever that kind of heel. I think he was a heel that you genuinely wanted to hate. And, now he's just he's proven his talent with this sort of, I'm not sure if it's a face turn really or not, but, well, obviously after he beat down Kevin Owens, it does look like he's still heel, but yeah, he's on fire at the moment, isn't he? He's been doing great work.
He's found himself, and I like that. They've really found the thing that tweaks and connects with it because they've tried so long for Corbin. Like you say, I've never hated Corbin. I understood why it would be a bit of a... He's just always done his job well. We don't liked him. That was what we're supposed to do with these people. But at the same time, they've found a gimmick that connects with it where a bit of me kind of likes him as well, and I want to see what cocky thing he's going to do next. And now, obviously, he thinks he might even buy King of the Ring, probably. So it's quite fun to see. But we've got a Vince McMahon meme probably on the way here because we're going to talk about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan against the Golden Lovers. Imagine that, Aaron.
What is it? Oh,
yeah, that's the one. That's the one indeed. There, I think it's something we definitely would love to see. Definitely at some point.
God, stop with these rematches.
I can imagine that Best in the World right now is creating this card for one of his videos. So go and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. It's always fun content to go and see. C Nation Dog, Kevin Owens may not go to the AEW, just may stay in WWE. People may get their hopes up. I mean, are we getting our hopes up about this? Or is Kevin Owens giving us enough tease and reason to believe he actually probably could jump ship?
I think as it stands, he will go, definitely. But WWE can rectify that. Kevin Owens, to me, he's always been that second coming of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think Jonesy said earlier, what storylines would you want to see in the future for WWE? That's one of them. Have Kevin Owens be that anti-authority guy that just, does whatever he wants, because I think he's believable as that character, but I just don't think WWE are ever going to pull the trigger on him. So, yeah, I do think he will show up in AEW eventually.
Yeah, I do as well. Should have given that WrestleMania moment, win the championship at Mania. Yeah. That's something that people would be loving to see. So yeah, absolutely. CNation Douglas also said it's sad CM Punk ruined Hangman Adam Page's AEW title reign. Well, he's not had one yet, Adam Page, but the reason he's off TV is due to the fact he's just become a father. So that's why he's not there. It's nothing to do with CM Punk. He will be back, and I'm hopeful by Full Gear he'll get that championship run. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I do as well. I think I see what you're saying. Maybe Punk will be the next challenger for Omega, and maybe he will win it. But even if that happens, I think Hangman would win it off Punk. Obviously, you do want to see the match between Page and Kenny Omega because it ends that entire story they've been doing. But yeah, I wouldn't say Punk has ruined it as such, but might be just going in a different route.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, Bryan Danielson might throw himself in that direction as well. So there's lots of different variables. That's an exciting part about Dynamite tonight. We don't know what we're going to get as the next step, but let's hope Hangman Page is still in around there. But like you said there, Plans can always change. Best in the world, AJ Styles deserves better than he's getting at the moment, but that's just me. What if when AJ Styles' contract is up, Finn Balor's contract is up, they both jump to AEW like the outsiders? Remember this comment. And you know what? I'm going to, because what are you doing to us, best in the world? Honestly, we're having a great time here. Literally, I mean, AJ Styles is someone I want to see in AEW as well. Finn Balor, I'd love to see it also. I mean, you're literally just using the Bullet Club here and bringing that together in some form of elite, or you could even use the Forbidden Door in its own way. Are you finding new superstars, Aaron, that you want to throw in your Forbidden Door videos?
Yeah, I think so, just a little bit. As far as Styles and Balor goes, though, as much as I would want to see them in AEW, I don't think they're going to. I think Styles is going to end his career in WWE, and I think he is happy where he is. Obviously, I want to see him further up the card. I think everyone does. But we'll have to see on that one. And as for Finn Balor, I do think that WWE do see something in him. So, yeah, I could definitely see Balor win, maybe a world title down the line. Probably the WWE title, because I don't think he'd beat Reigns. But, yeah, so I'm not sure if they would jump ship, but my God, would I love it. It would be amazing.
It would be freaking awesome. I'm not sure if people will go either, but I'd love to see it. That's what I will say. And Signature Dog says that it's almost singles push that's keeping AJ Styles back. I have to agree with that. They are booking us really, really well, but it's just I don't want any expense of AJ. No, I want them to go back to that singles dynamic, but we'll have to wait and see how it'll play out. Rest of our world, you are great at getting in depth at matches. How do you do it? It would take me all day to do it. Aaron, can we dive in and get some of your secrets?
Yeah, sure. It's a bit of a struggle, to be honest. Like it is quite a lot of effort. I know it's just one video, but it does take quite a lot. You know, I do watch the match a few times, and obviously I have to do a lot of research into the build. To be fair, I'm not really good at talking off the cuff. You know, Steve, you're amazing at it. But this is why kind of my videos are quite edited. So I do make a script. So I sort of go through the match and I write down my analysis sort of as I go and then record from there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to study these sort of matches for sure. But anyone can do it.
We're all
wrestling fans.
We are all wrestling fans, but I mean, like I have to say, like a lot of love has come your way with your content, and I think it's well justified and deserved. It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed watching these under analysis videos, and obviously these top 10 videos, and there's always a lot of creativity that goes with what you do, and I think it's really fun, and you can really see with viewers that they're really enjoying the content, man. So keep up the great work. That's what I have to say.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it.
Best in the world, the AEW console game is getting copped as soon as pre-orders are available. That looks so good. I have to keep it clean there for you. I have to agree. Yeah, I mean, I saw Steel's the Jungle Boy the other day on Twitter. It's looking phenomenal, this game. It's going to be the best game since No Mercy on the N64. Are you hyped for the AEW game?
Yeah, definitely. I won't lie, I'm not too much of a gamer anymore. I only play a couple, but I will definitely be buying this one because I think it is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be one of the best rosters ever. They're probably going to have all the guys as DLC, but oh well, never mind. We'll just buy all them. But you know, it's going to be a great game. Yes, it is looking really good.
It is looking really good. I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring forward. And I'm not much of a gamer either anymore, but I will make time to do it for this one because I think it's looking that damn good. Straight Talk Wrestling. What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the stream. It's great to have you here with us. And drop in a question quickly before we get to the end here, because obviously you just joined the stream as well. I'd love to get your involvement in this video as well. And we've got Josh Alexander should win the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory. It looks like you're agreeing with that one.
Definitely, without a doubt. This is one of the. I want to see Josh Alexander take it off Christian Cage personally. He's ready. I think. I think he's ready to take that. Take the step to the next level. Love his work. Such a good wrestler. Haven't seen too much of him on the mic, but I think he could do a good job. So yeah, I agree with that one.
I like him on the mic. He's very. He's very babyfacish the way he does straight talking with what he's got to say. But I really like. He could be like the next Kurt Angle. He really is fantastic.
Yeah.
So Obviously, I don't know if he's going to have the full charisma style as that, but definitely, I think he's definitely got all the tools in the locker to be something really, really special. And also, we've got a straight show. Absolutely agree with Josh winning it, but do you feel it should have been against Kenny? Great question there. I'm going to say yes, because I mean, Kenny Omega was the one that took it from Impact Wrestling to begin with. And the fact is, Impact for me should have been doing all as a roster to get the belt off of Kenny. And I think Kenny now, obviously being the PWI top #1 in the 500, I think it would have meant much more to that roster beating Kenny over Christian Cage. Maybe I'm doing a disservice to Christian Cage, though, by saying that. But what are your thoughts, Aaron?
No, I agree with what you're saying there. I think you're spot on. I think I see what they're doing. You know, they're like, well, Christian Cage is just as much of a scalp as Kenny Omega is, so it'd have the same effect. But you know, Kenny Omega is on another level at the minute. I think, no disrespect to Christian. So I think if an Impact star would have beaten Kenny, like Josh Alexander, that just would have risen his stock so far in that company. You know, it will be have a good effect against Christian, but maybe just not as good.
I've got 2 words to say to end this question: triple threat.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the way to do it, I think. Best in the world. Kevin Steen's promo with Jim Cornette was the best work and best heel work he's ever done. Yeah, I mean, that I saw that on Twitter today. Absolutely brutal. If you haven't, I'm not going to say the words out loud because it wasn't too kind to Jim Cornette. Google it or YouTube it, because honestly, it's quite brutal. I've got a couple of questions here from Jonesy that were not at the top of the stream when we started, so I'm going to quickly just ask you them if you don't mind. So they're not going to come up on the bottom of the screen for anyone watching. If you were going to try a long-term story arc for the Aces and Eights like storyline involving the WWE main roster, who would you use and where would it end up?
Oh, that's a tough one. I
Tough
think
ones
if you're
to
going to go, yeah, definitely. Well, as you said, you know, I think I would definitely use a lot of the talent. I wouldn't go to NXT for it. I would use the talent that are lower down the card, like you say, like the Ricochets, the Cedrics, and just get. I think there was like 8 members of Aces and Eights, weren't there? So probably have like 4 or 5 of them. As for who I'd have as the leader, though, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Maybe like a Sheamus or someone like that, someone who's quite established, or maybe they could play the bully role where, you know, they come in later down the line and be that surprise. But yeah, just use guys that are lower down the card, I think.
He's definitely got a protective mask anyway at this point. Definitely would help him, wouldn't it, with that role? But I wondered if maybe Keith Lee would be good for the role there, because he's supposed to have this rumored heel turn, and that definitely would be a good way of unveiling it. Of course, if you're going to use the Aces and Ace style, but it had these masks on, I mean, you can't really disguise Keith Lee too well with it. But at the same time, I think it could be quite a lot of fun. And if you have the sort of superstars that are not being pushed and overused right, like a Cedric Alexander, like a Ricochet, maybe that could kind of work as a heel stable. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. I think it could work. Honestly, I keep forgetting about Keith Lee because he's just not showing up at all. So every time I can make a suggestion, I just don't mention him. But yeah, no, he's a phenomenal pick. So that would be pretty good to see.
Absolutely. If it's not Retribution, anyway. And Jones had one other question.
Please.
He said, if you were to build an Attitude Era storylines out of the current Raw roster, what would you do and why? So I'm guessing using storylines from then with the talent that we've got now. And I'm hoping he doesn't suggest that we have the Kennel of Hell match. That's what I'm hoping he doesn't want us to say. But what would be, if you could take storylines from back then to now? I mean, you mentioned about Kevin Owens being anti-authority. Would that be sort of thing like the Kevin Owens, Vince McMahon style that you would look for?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is what I was referencing earlier with Kevin Owens. You know, and you could maybe have that match similar to what Austin had with Bret Hart, which kind of took him to that level. I'm not sure who. Maybe Owens. Maybe it could be against someone like a Roman Reigns, just someone who is quite big in that company, or maybe an Edge. You could do maybe turn or have Kevin Owens as a heel and maybe do that double turn again, perhaps. And then, as you say, just have Kevin Owens against an authority figure, whether that's Triple H or if Vince McMahon's still up for it. I think that could be just as good. But yeah, I've always seen Kevin Owens like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type character, so that would probably be my pick. And Sami Zayn is The Rock, so you've got those 3 WrestleMania matches as well. Obviously, we've seen them have a lot of matches, but yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I like the style there. I can't top the answer, so that's what it's going to be. We're 5 comments in, so please no more comments because it's getting late where we are. We need to end the stream soon. We're in that UK time zone, it's getting very late. But Straight Edge Talking saying yes. Hopefully not ending the stream, but definitely good to have the comment in anyway. Alyssa says we don't agree with the PWI list. Where's Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Ripley, Edge? Come back. I haven't seen the list, so I can't really fully comment. But obviously, we're gonna check it out after this. That's one thing we're gonna do, Alicia, and we'll come back to that for you on a future stream. That's something that I can guarantee for you. Best of the world, Hangman Page beats Omega, Paco MJF beats Hangman. That's your AEW World title changes from now to the end of 2022. Tony Khan, take note of the real best in the world. Oh, don't you just love it? Yeah, sounds some good fantasy storytelling for me. I like it. I would be down for it. Those that would be building new stars up with the other stars you got in the company.
Yeah, I like that one. Definitely the MJF suggestion. I think if Page was going to beat Omega, I think MJF should definitely be the next one to beat him there. Pac, would love to see him win a world title. I think he is a main event talent. So, yeah, I'll be all up for that. I like the suggestions again.
Definitely great suggestions. Like I said, I feel the same. More inclined for MJF of the two, but definitely would be down for it. Almost as Bad Luck Fale and AJ Styles is Prince Devitt. I see similarities, as do I, and as does Aaron. I can see the shape of the head there. Yeah. And the last one we've got here, I would also have Josh Alexander still be as X Division champion when he wins the Impact World Championship because he said he wants to be the greatest X Division champion. I mean, double champions have been happening quite a lot frequently. Belt collectors all around. Josh Alexander seems like someone that could have all the tools to do such a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Why not? And I think Alexander has sort of proven that he wants to stay in Impact. He's not looking to go anywhere. And I think when you have a guy like that in your company who's quite loyal, yeah, why not? Give him the belts. Push him to the moon.
Definitely to the moon. But last question before we go off the stream. This is from me to you. What's your thoughts of Randy Orton getting the title shot against Bobby Lashley at Extreme Rules just before we close off?
It doesn't surprise me. I think that's another WWE counter program in there. With AEW doing the big things, they're like, oh, we need a big name against Bobby Lashley, so why not Randy Orton? I quite like it, to be honest. Ever since Lashley won the title, I did want to see Orton against him because I think that's someone who Orton hasn't really faced. Big fan of Orton. He's great on pay-per-view main events. And you've obviously got Riddle and MVP to the side to add to that story. So, yeah, I ain't got a problem with it at all. I think that'll be a good match.
I think it'll be a good match as well there. It's very interesting how it's been put together. The Raw Tag Team Division getting utilised with it as well. And that leads to the last question today. The very, very last question will we get new Raw Tag Team Champions next week? Will it be Bobby Lashley and MVP taking it off RK Bro? I personally don't see it. I think RK Bro keep the belts.
Yeah, I can't see it either. No.
I think Lashley wants it.
Yeah.
Lashley wants it, but I don't see it happening. I think that when you look at it, I can just see RK Bro keeping those belts. It's just to enhance that Orton-Lashley feud, and MVP is the one there that should be taking the fall with everyone in the match. But that's pretty much it for all the Q&A. Thank everyone for all your questions. Thank everyone that's been viewing and checking it out. If you're watching on demand as well, thank you so much. And please, after the video goes off as well, please leave a comment as well. It really helps with the algorithms. And hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't also. Please share with a friend as well. It always helps the channel grow. And we really appreciate everyone's support as always. But once again, thank you to Wrestling by Wooldridge who's joined us today. Give everyone a quick plug of your channel.
Yeah, just firstly, thank you, Steve, for having me on another one of your Q&As. This is one of my favourite shows in the week. Watch all of them. Love being on them. Now please subscribe to the channel. As I said, I do a lot of analysis videos. Got one called Under Analysis at the moment, which I talked about earlier. I also released a video earlier today, which we spoke about the Forbidden Door. I do sort of topical videos here and there as well. So yeah, please subscribe and subscribe to Steve because he is one of the goats of wrestling YouTube. So
thank you. That means a lot, man. Thank you so much coming from you, man, honestly. And keep up the fantastic content. And we'll just let you know, as well, Wrestling by Wooldridge, the link is in the description of this video. You just click on that link and then you go straight to his channel. Hit the subscribe button. It's as simple as that. And then you can start watching videos straight away. It's as easy as that. But I'm back tomorrow for the next SCW Rewind, a retro review. Thank you, everyone that voted and you got your way. No Mercy 2007 is going to be the show that's going to be done tomorrow. But of course, you have got just under 24 hours to do the Extreme poll. That's available on the community part right now. Go and vote on that, because currently the winner is Extreme Rules 2012. You can change that if you want it to be one like Stand 2006, 2005, or maybe even an ECW retro pay-per-view like Living Dangerously 98 or Guilty as Charged 99. Get voting while you still can. The winner will be announced on that stream tomorrow afternoon. And one more comment for Jonesy just before we leave, because it's from Best in the World 1989. He says his aces and eights will be Baron Corbin, Elias, Jackson Riker, Joe Gacy, Josh Briggs. There you go, Jonesy chats. And yeah, there you go. That's a good answer.
I dig it.
Best in the world. We dig it. We are digging it indeed. But that's all from us anyway. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good one. You've been watching SCW Live Q&A, back once again, and back for another live Q&A next Wednesday once again. So make sure to join me with another guest on the channel. All the best. Take care. Have yourselves a great day.